Russia geography. Russia is the largest country in the world. Its total area is 17,075,200 square kilometers, 6,592,800 square miles. This makes it larger than the continents of Oceania, Europe, and Antarctica. It lies between latitudes 41 degrees and 82 degrees north, and longitudes 19 degrees east and 169 degrees west. Russia's territorial expansion was achieved largely in the late 16th century under the Cossack Yermak Timofeyevich during the reign of Ivan the Terrible, at a time when competing city-states in the western regions of Russia had banded together to form one country. Yermak mustered an army and pushed eastward, where he conquered nearly all the lands once belonging to the Mongols, defeating their ruler, Khan Kuchum. Russia has a wide natural resource base, including major deposits of timber, petroleum, natural gas, coal, ores and other mineral resources. Topography. The two most widely separated points in Russia are about 8,000 kilometers, 4,971 miles, apart along a geodesic line. These points are, a 60 kilometers, 37 miles, long Vistula spit, the boundary with Poland separating the Gdansk Bay from the Vistula Lagoon, and the most southeastern point of the Kuril Islands. The points which are farthest separated in longitude are 6,600 kilometers, 4,101 miles, apart along a geodesic line. These points are, in the west, the same spit on the boundary with Poland, and in the east, the Big Diomede Island. The Russian Federation spans 11 time zones. Most of Russia consists of vast stretches of plains that are predominantly steppe to the south and heavily forested to the north, with tundra along the northern coast. Russia possesses 10% of the world's arable land. Mountain ranges are found along the southern borders, such as the Caucasus, containing Mount Elbrus, which at 5,642 meters, 18,510 feet, is the highest point in both Russia and Europe, and the Altai, containing Mount Belukha, which at the 4,506 meters, 14,783 feet, is the highest point of Siberia outside of the Russian Far East, and in the eastern parts, such as the Verkhoyansk Range or the volcanoes of Kamchatka Peninsula, containing Klyuchevskaya Sopka, which at the 4,750 meters, 15,584 feet, is the highest active volcano in Eurasia as well as the highest point of Asian Russia. The Ural Mountains, rich in mineral resources, form a north-south range that divides Europe and Asia. Russia has an extensive coastline of over 37,000 kilometers, 22,991 miles, along the Arctic and Pacific Oceans, as well as along the Baltic Sea, Sea of Azov, Black Sea, and Caspian Sea. The Barents Sea, White Sea, Kara Sea, Laptev Sea, East Siberian Sea, Chukchi Sea, Bering Sea, Sea of Okhotsk, and the Sea of Japan are linked to Russia via the Arctic and Pacific. Russia's major islands and archipelagos include Novaya Zemlya, the Franz Josef Land, the Severnaya Zemlya, the New Siberian Islands, Vrangel Island, the Kuril Islands, and Sakhalin. The Diomede Islands, one controlled by Russia, the other by the United States, are just 3 kilometers, 1.9 miles, apart, and Konashir Island is about 20 kilometers, 12.4 miles, from Hokkaido, Japan. Russia has thousands of rivers and inland bodies of water, providing it with one of the world's largest surface water resources. Its lakes contain approximately 1/4 of the world's liquid fresh water. The largest and most prominent of Russia's bodies of fresh water is Lake Baikal, the world's deepest, purest, oldest and most capacious freshwater lake. Baikal alone contains over 1/5 of the world's fresh surface water. Other major lakes include Ladoga and Volga, two of the largest lakes in Europe. Russia is second only to Brazil in volume of the total renewable water resources. Of the country's 100,000 rivers, the Volga is the most famous, not only because it is the longest river in Europe, but also because of its major role in Russian history. The Siberian rivers Ob, Yenisei, Lena and Amur are among the longest rivers in the world. Climate. The enormous size of Russia and the remoteness of many areas from the sea result in the dominance of the humid continental climate, which is prevalent in all parts of the country except for the tundra and the extreme southwest. Mountains in the south obstruct the flow of warm air masses from the Indian Ocean, while the plain of the west and north makes the country open to Arctic and Atlantic influences. Most of northern European Russia and Siberia has a subarctic climate, with extremely severe winters in the inner regions of northeast Siberia, mostly the Sakha Republic, where the northern pole of cold is located with a record low temperature of -71.2 degrees Celsius or -96.2 degrees Fahrenheit, and more moderate winters elsewhere. Both the strip of land along the shore of the Arctic Ocean and the Russian Arctic Islands have a polar climate. The coastal part of Krasnodar Krai on the Black Sea, most notably in Sochi, possesses a humid subtropical climate with mild and wet winters. In many regions of East Siberia and the Far East, winter is dry compared to summer. Other parts of the country experience more even precipitation across seasons. Winter precipitation in most parts of the country usually falls as snow. The region along the lower Volga and Caspian Sea coast, as well as some areas of southernmost Siberia, possesses a semi-arid climate. Throughout much of the territory there are only two distinct seasons, winter and summer, as spring and autumn are usually brief periods of change between extremely low and extremely high temperatures. The coldest month is January, February on the coastline, the warmest is usually July. Great ranges of temperature are typical. In winter, temperatures get colder both from south to north and from west to east. Summers can be quite hot, even in Siberia. The continental interiors are the driest areas. Biodiversity. From north to south the East European Plain, also known as Russian Plain, is clad sequentially in Arctic tundra, coniferous forest, taiga, mixed and broadleaf forests, grassland, steppe, and semi-desert, fringing the Caspian Sea, as the changes in vegetation reflect the changes in climate. Siberia supports a similar sequence but is largely taiga. Russia has the world's largest forest reserves, known as the lungs of Europe, second only to the Amazon rainforest in the amount of carbon dioxide it absorbs. There are 266 mammal species and 780 bird species in Russia. A total of 415 animal species have been included in the Red Data Book of the Russian Federation as of 1997 and are now protected. There are 28 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Russia, 40 UNESCO Biosphere Reserves, 41 national parks and 101 nature reserves.